Hey, what's going on, beautiful YouTube family? Once again, this is the Mulatto Vanguard back with another video. So today I kind of wanted to talk about the what I'd call coon lottos. So these are essentially, biracial black-white mulatto people who typically work against, I guess you can say, the collective of mulatto people, and essentially identity policing us and forcing us into a box, typically pushing us towards the way of towards the black monolith, to essentially serve the communita in the black plight struggle. So I'm speaking from the American perspective, born and raised in America, and even traveling this country, and you can see online and media, etc. Majority of people who are black, white, biracial, from my analysis, are overwhelmingly black identified, which is very interesting in itself, because that could play, differently depending on where you are geographically, right? And so kind of what I want to get into as far as these coon lottos, and of course we're going to have people who are kind of offended by that, but it is what it is, because, collectively we know in black society, the word coon is essentially someone who is a turncoat, someone who's essentially a traitor, right? Who kind of tries to, what you would say, like collude with the opponents, the other team, right? So, and this is very tricky, because the thing is with biracial people, we're obviously have a dualistic background, right? So we're put in a situation a lot of times where people pressure us to pick a side, or typically it's to pick the black side, right? But you're just as white as you are black. And even a lot of us are influenced, our parents, if whoever with your guardian who was there, a lot of times you find that our black side, our parent wasn't there in our life, in our upbringing, but kind of through the kind of enculturation process and socialization in America, a lot of us typically identify with the black struggle, black plight. That's a whole nother discussion in itself. So for today, talking about the coon lottos, okay? And so what you're going to see specifically within the pro-black sectors, right? The pro-wax, you'll see the grand conspiracy that's being pushed by Chancellor Williams and the destruction of black civilization. And a lot of the pro-wax, like the irritated genie, synthetic weave, she pushes the same narrative, the conspiracy theories. And then, Tariq Fraud-Sheed. And there's many others, but these are kind of the more vocal and loud ones who are pushing the mulatto narrative and the conspiracy theories. And they use Chancellor Williams' book to do that. But what they also do, which is very crafty of them, is they use mulattoes against the collective of mulattoes, right? So they use coon lottos. They use them to kind of steer us away from forming our own identity, our own culture, and our own group, to essentially put us back in line to serve the black monolith. So, like I mentioned, you have examples of this. So we have pro-wax and black nationalists who use mulattoes against other mulattoes, essentially, right? For people like me, the mulatto vanguard, who want to form our own group, our own identity, our own culture. And so who do they typically use? Well, they have people like Michi X. You've seen her. Michi X is very loud and very vulgar in her language, and she has to act extra black, extra blackety black, ghetto black, in order to appease her majority black audience. And she's just as black as she is white, but she's got to act all ghetto, act all hard, for her audience. People like her will be used against mulatto people forming our own identity, our own culture, our own group. Same thing with Zaza Ali. Zaza Ali is another one. It's like there's a video you have of the character, the irritated genie, who is like one of the most vocal anti-mulattoes, on the internet. And he had a banner on one of his videos with a picture of Zaza Ali. I caught that. I thought that was, very funny because she's a mulatto himself. But here he is trying to throw all mulattoes under the bus, but he uses mulattoes like for his presentation. The ones who are on his side, okay. The ones that he can use, like I said, the coon lottos who want to kind of steer us back in to serve as mules for the communita. And then you got other people like Sarah Sutanseti. Now, I'm not sure if Sarah Sutanseti, if he's a confirmed mulatto or not, but I mean, shit. You look at how he's light and bright. Might as well be. I mean, I've watched one of his live streams where even one of the people in the chat was looking at him like, or saying in the chat, essentially, you know, well, you're not African. Because, I mean, I know he's been to Egypt and Kemet, but I mean, shit, if he's been to West Africa, some of these places, I mean, they'd call him a white man, you know, which is funny. But he's all extra black, extra ghetto. I mean, I know he's from the hood or whatever, from Detroit, but he's banging hard, talking black power and all this stuff. So yeah, definitely fall into the category of a light-skinned savior. Like I said, I can't confirm if Sarah Seti, I don't know if he's mixed or not, but I mean, shit, a lot of these, you know, blackity black pro-blacks, they're gonna pretty much say he is. So, but you know, that's the whole position he finds himself in, is he's gonna have to prove his blackness. And how does he do that? He's got to throw us under the bus. He's got to throw mulattoes under the bus, point the finger at us. But like I said, the list goes on. List goes on because it's very long, because it's part of throughout American history where you have the mulattoes, right? Their pathway to blackness is always been, you know, it was and still is to marry a black partner, to essentially be absorbed by the black monolith. That's kind of their meal ticket into, you know, quote, acceptance, is what we see. And of course, the light-skinned saviors, you know, they're gonna fight you harder than, you know, the darker skinned black people, right? Lighter skinned monoracial black people or even mixed people will fight you harder than the darker skinned ones. That's what I found out. And there's other people within this space who can say the same as well. They've noticed that as well. Yeah. And the reason why they do that is so they can kind of keep the darker skinned ones off their back, right? So they can keep the focused aggression on the mulattoes, or what they like to jokingly call, which is a racial slur, they say the half-breed. Now, I don't hear that word half-breed being uttered by white people or any other ethnic group. It's only within black society, and that word comes off very like easily off their tongue, and it's doing them a lot of damage now, you know, now that they're seeing that mulatto people are developing their own identity, their own culture, forming their own group. And there's really no turning back, is from what I can see, just because of the growth trajectory. The numbers warrant it. You know, politically, like I just shared a few days ago, where you had Michelle Obama, who essentially on the world stage was basically saying that her husband is a biracial man, right? So we're definitely developing this whole identity and rediscovering our history. Where throughout American history, we've always been kind of thrown into the black category when they just erased the white side, right? The white influence, the white academia, the white education, the white sponsorships, the white donors, etc., etc. A lot of that has remained hidden, but as you'll see, that's not going to be the case any much longer. So I just wanted to add that, share that with you guys, and get your viewpoint on that. The whole discussion is coon lottos. Now, I named a few, but there's more. And see, those are the prominent, like I said, those are prominent ones you see online, but we have these people all throughout society that are kind of, I guess you could say, irrelevant, that are not prominent, but even in this space, you know, the kind of quote so-called mixed spaces, when they're really just, you know, yeah. So just, you know, something to look out for. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.